Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. As you guys know, Gaijin likes to put on some sales throughout the year. Some are small, some are big, and today we have one of the biggest sales of the year. That's right, the summer sale is now in full swing. And in this video, I'll go over the details of the summer sale, which albeit are a little bit short, and then I'll give you a little bit of a buyer's guide to show you what I think of pretty much every vehicle on this sale, because I've done reviews on pretty much all of them, sans some of the ships. Now that being said, this sale runs from June 26th at 9 GMT through July 7th at 9 GMT, and it's got 29 vehicle packs with a 50% discount. So basically, 29 vehicle packs are half off, and these are just some of the vehicle packs. But as I said, it's a little bit of a limited sale. They're not really giving away Golden Eagles by themselves. They're not giving away premium account by themselves. This is just a vehicle pack sale, at least as of right now, and it says that it's only available for PC players only. So that really sucks. At least this sale that I'm going to be going over now. I'm not sure if they're going to be doing something a little bit different for console players, but again, this is at least what you're seeing here is just for PC players. Now, that being said, let's get into the actual vehicles on sale, and I'll go through them one by one and give you my buyer's guide opinion on them. So let's start off here with the first vehicle on sale, and it is the RDFLT. And if you guys know anything about the American ground tech tree, it is swarmed at top tier by the HSTVL, and this is pretty much a bizarro version of the HSTVL. It basically has a bit more of an ammo capacity, which is nice, because as many people might know who play the HSTVL, it really doesn't have all that much ammo that can carry with it. And of course, the RDFLT also has a slightly better rate of fire at like 0.9 seconds as opposed to the HSTVL's 1 second rate of fire. So it's a little bit quicker in that regard as well. Otherwise, it is substantially slower. I believe it has like a 17 or 18 kilometer per hour lower top speed compared to the HSTVL, and also has a much worse power to weight ratio. Not a bad power to weight ratio, but you're going to be able to keep up with MBTs rather than outpace them, which is what you can do with the HSTVL. So basically, in my opinion, this is a pretty decent vehicle, because this is probably the best top tier American ground vehicle here, or at least near top tier American ground vehicle. If that's what you're looking to research and grind through the American ground tech tree, this is not a bad vehicle. Just bear in mind that it is not nearly as good, at least in my opinion, compared to the HSTVL. The HSTVL in large part is just better than this, because this is supposed to be a flanker, and it really is just able to keep up with MBTs rather than light tanks. It kind of complicates that a little bit, but again, if you are able to utilize this thing's strengths, as in its really small profile, and also again, it can still move decently quick, nothing amazing, definitely not HSTVL levels of quick, you can still do well in this vehicle. So is it okay? Yeah, and for $35, not that bad of a deal, but again, I would probably recommend pretty much any other American top tier tank if it wasn't the KVT for sale, but it is what it is. This is the sale we have. Next up, we have the T80 UE1. This is a fantastic top tier MBT. It is just overall excellent. It's got great top speed, great overall mobility, it's got a great cannon, got great armor, and it has, if I'm not mistaken, Gen 3 thermals, if not Gen 2, but either way, Gen 2, Gen 3, they are just about as good as each other. This is a very good vehicle overall, and in my opinion is one of the better, if not one of the best top tier MBTs that you can get in War Thunder. Definitely would strongly consider purchasing this. This is a recommended vehicle, and again, bear in mind, I've got reviews for pretty much all of these, except for maybe the ships and I believe the SU-39. Now that said, next up we have the BMD-4M. This is a fantastic vehicle. I mean, just absolutely awesome. Bear in mind, it is rank 6, whereas the T80 UE1 is rank 7. Basically, if you guys don't know, the higher the rank of the premium vehicle, that means that the more of the ground tech tree that it can research, or really just the more of the tech tree in general that it can research without RP penalty. And I've done a video on this. If you guys want, definitely consider checking that out, exactly what the penalties are and all that. But basically, insofar as a rank 6 light tank is concerned, the BMD-4M is possibly, if not definitely, the best one. This is basically the BMD-4, which is already a fantastic light tank, and it's just better, being that it has a better power to weight ratio and slightly better armor, but the armor is just better enough where now it can stop HMGs for the most part. Whereas the BMD4, really, it was a little bit iffy. This one more or less can stop HMGs, which is a pretty big deal considering you have to fight a lot of American tanks around this BR, and they have a lot of HMGs. So in general, yes, I mean, I absolutely love it. I would recommend the hell out of this. Again, you might want to get the T80 UE1 because it is a rank higher, and you will be able to grind out through more of the ground tech tree with it, but this is still a fantastic vehicle, and I actually like it more than the T80 UE1. But again, it's just kind of an economics thing. For $5 more, you can pretty much grind the entire Russian ground tech tree, so you might want to consider the UE1 over this, but you really can't go wrong with either. Next, we have the Mirage F1C 200. I remember years ago I did a review on this. I said it was a great kind of overall vehicle, and a lot of people made fun of me for it. I still stand by it. I think it's actually a pretty good overall vehicle. Is it as good as I had thought when I first made my review on it years ago? No, but it's still a very good vehicle in general. It has pretty good armament. It's got good missiles, very good missiles as a matter of fact, and a pretty decent anti-ground armament if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've done CAS on it. Again, if you want, definitely check out my review of it, but this is still a very good overall vehicle for the French. If you're looking to grind out the French air tech tree, this is not a bad pick. There are stronger picks for air on this list than this, but still, this is not a bad pick overall, and I really don't think that you're going to be wanting if you get this, because again, it can do anti-air fairly well, and it can do anti-ground fairly well. It's not extremely good at either, but it can still do them fairly well, and I feel like it's a competent aircraft. Next, we have the J7D. This vehicle has seen a lot of down tier, or a lot of BR decreases as of late, and I think it's just a fantastic vehicle. When I first got it, I really liked it, but I felt like its BR was a bit high. Now that its BR has decreased, I feel like it's actually a very, very good vehicle. Basically, this is a Chinese MiG-21 with just rear aspect only missiles, but the rear aspect only missiles that it has are actually quite good. Plus, even though it only has unguided weaponry for air to ground, they are actually really, really good. I actually use this quite a bit whenever I'm playing the Chinese ground tech tree near top tier for CAS, because it is an actually effective CAS aircraft for its BR. So it's not amazing, nor can it carry like a large loadout, but it will do the job for CAS. It's not as good as an actual strike aircraft, mind you. I'm just going to put that out there. But for a MiG-21, this actually does a lot better than you'd think for CAS. Is it amazing? No, but it's definitely workable and definitely a pretty decent solution, at least in a pinch for CAS at this BR. So overall, yeah, I do recommend the J7D. It's actually in a pretty damn good spot right now. It's a really, really good aircraft. Next, we have the MiG-21 Bison. This is a very interesting vehicle. This is pretty much the best of the best, or the strongest, I guess you could say, of the MiG-21s. Being that it has a helmet-mounted display, which means that you can aim off bore sight, so basically wherever you are looking, that's where your missiles are going to aim. And it's a very good overall vehicle. I think that it is a little bit old in a way because it is, again, a MiG-21 at like near top tier. I mean, this is rank 8 after all, but it is still a very, very powerful aircraft, and it has a decent enough air-to-ground loadout. I do think that the J7D is better at its BR than the MiG-21 Bison is at its BR, but still the MiG-21 Bison is a pretty good aircraft, but it will be let down insofar as performance is concerned compared to similar BR aircraft, especially considering the speed bleed that this has, but otherwise it does have very good air-to-air weapons. Next, we have the Leopard 2A4 can, or the 2A4M can. This is a fantastic vehicle. I would put this right up there pretty much with the T80 UE1. It is just about as good. It's got good armor. I think it's a little bit quicker than the UE1 if memory serves, and has a very good armament. It's just a very good overall vehicle. I like it a lot. Maybe the T80 UE1 is a touch better, but really that's kind of a subjective thing. It is a very good overall vehicle. There's not really any major weakness that it has. It's just very good overall. Again, good mobility, or great mobility rather, great armament and great armor. Next, we have the F4S Phantom 2-pack. This is an interesting vehicle. I see a lot of new players get it, and I feel like because of that, it makes this vehicle look a lot worse than it really is. It can carry a lot of ordnance, but nothing really all too spectacular insofar as what sort of weapons it can carry. It's just a lot of dumb weapons, a lot of unguided weapons. It's a very good aircraft if you are looking for quantity for air to ground, but not really also great if you're looking looking for quality. So again, it can drop a lot of close range weapons air to ground, but that's about it. Still a very effective CAS aircraft in that regard, but you have to get through a lot of SPAA. Now for air-to-air, it's very basic. It's okay. It only has rear aspect only missiles, not all aspect, which kind of sucks. But overall, it's still somewhat effective for air-to-air. It can carry decent enough radar guided missiles, and again, not really great infrared guided missiles, IR guided, but it's okay in that regard. It's just kind of like the most average-ish air-to-air like vehicle that you can get, or like the most average-ish vehicle that you can get around this BR. It's not great, not bad. It'll get the job done in many instances, but it really just isn't all that great, and you are going to have a lot of people playing it that really have no idea what they're doing. Next, we have the Merkava Mk Ram pack. This is a very interesting vehicle because a lot of people continually tell me it's not very survivable. In my own experience, it is a very survivable vehicle. If you're looking for something with good survivability, and I believe it has a pretty damn good armament as well, it is actually a quite good vehicle, again, in my opinion. Not the best when it comes to mobility at all. Its mobility is definitely better than the previous premium that the Israelis had, the Merkava Mk2D, but it is still pretty maneuverable overall in that regard. I think it's actually a quite good vehicle at its BR. It's not as overall good as the T80 UE1 or the Leopard 2A4 M can, but it's still a very good vehicle in its own right. Next up, we have the Saab JA37DI Wyvern F1C pack, and quite honestly, this thing is just not all that great. I did a review on it. I found it to be a very disappointing aircraft, and the thing is, this might also be the most expensive pack on sale, which is just absolutely crazy. Now, the reason why it's disappointing is kind of twofold. First and foremost, this is a 13.0 BR aircraft, whereas its siblings are typically, for the most part, lower BR. Of course, there is a regular ground or air tech tree variant of this that is, I believe, the same BR, if not very similar in BR compared to the F-21, but both of them are a bit of a letdown. The reason being is because this can only carry up to 6 missiles. Now, bear in mind, 4 of them are active radar homing missiles, which are essentially AIM-120, if I'm not mistaken, A missiles, which are pretty decent, don't get me wrong, but in addition to those 4, you can only carry 2 AIM-9Ls, which are not very good for close range encounters at and around this BR. They do not have thrust vectoring, they do not have smokeless motors, and they do not have IRCCM, nor are they incredibly fast. They're just okay at and around this BR, and there's a good chance that once you fire 2 or even up to 4 of them in any given match, depending on what you decide for your loadout to be, they will not hit a single enemy aircraft, just because most people at and around this BR are much wiser to close range missiles and are more than happy to fire off countermeasures. So in general, it's just not all that great. It's got not great performance relative to similar BR aircraft. It is not slow by any means, but compared to, again, other aircraft at and around this BR, it's just not going to be all that fast. It's just, it's not all that great. And besides, another thing that you want to look at is close air support capability, and this has essentially none. It can only carry unguided rockets for air to ground, and the problem with that is that at and around this BR, you are facing the best of the best SPAA, which means that this vehicle, barring the fact that you basically fly at treetop level and behind mountains, you will be shot down before you get anywhere close to the enemy team in order to use your unguided rockets. It's just not all that great. It's not a very versatile aircraft, and even air-to-air, it's just kind of average-ish, despite the fact that it has active radar homing missiles. The aircraft itself is just very meh. So it's not terrible, I guess you could say. It's just not very good, and it's definitely not versatile. So, I mean, for $40, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But also, if I'm not mistaken, there's no other Swedish aircraft at and around this BR, premium at least, that you can get on this sale. So this might be your only option, at least if you really want to buy something for the Swedish Air Tech Tree during this sale. And again, it's not absolutely bad when it comes to air-to-air. It's just a bit limited in many ways. But if you really want my full opinion on it, again, I do have a review on it. Next, we have the Su-39. This is actually the only aircraft, if I'm not mistaken, here, outside of maybe a helicopter or two, that I've not done a review on. And the reason being is because when it first came out, I hated it. But now it is in a bit better of a spot. It can carry 2 R-17 R-73s and 2 R-60s, which is actually pretty decent considering that this is a strike aircraft. It is subsonic, but I do actually use it on occasion just when I'm kind of grinding out through the tech tree, or if I have a task to complete. This is not a bad vehicle to use. It can carry, again, 4 air-to-air missiles in total, and actually has really, really good anti-ground weapons, including, if I'm not mistaken, it's something like 16 or so Vikir missiles, which are just phenomenal. This is a very good anti-ground weaponry system, and is excellent for CAS, and is pretty meh when it comes to air-to-air, but it's not bad because you can get, again, those R-73s at a relatively low BR. So really, in general, just based on the somewhat limited experience I have with this vehicle, it's actually not bad at this point. It's not a bad vehicle. It's definitely a bit more CAS oriented, but still not bad overall. Next up, we have the Stridsvagn 121B Christian 2-pack, and this is pretty much just a Leopard 2A4. That's pretty much it, except it has fewer smoke grenades. Otherwise, it's pretty much just a Leopard 2A4. Not the Leopard 2A4 M can, but just a standard Leopard 2A4 with the standard cannon, standard loadout. It's like, what, 10.7 BR, so it doesn't have the greatest armament, but it is still a pretty decently armed vehicle, decently armored, and pretty damn mobile as well. It's actually one of the more mobile of the Leopard 2 variants, so it is a very good overall vehicle. In my opinion, the Leopard 2A4 is one of the best overall vehicles at and around its BR, and this definitely is along those lines. And again, the only difference here is that it has just a few smoke grenades less compared to the standard Leopard 2A4, and also has a camo net over top of it. In my opinion, you really can't go wrong with it. Next, we have the A-10A Thunderbolt early pack. This is very similar in many ways to my critique of the F4S. You have a lot of noobs playing this thing. With me personally, I can easily get 3 or 4 kills in any air-to-air match with this thing. Most people are just dying instantly, or you see them firing off Mavericks versus like a howitzer. It's just absolutely crazy. This is actually a pretty good aircraft. It actually gets AIM-9Ls fairly early, and you can carry awesome gun pods underneath, which is just phenomenal. It is extremely slow, like extraordinarily slow, especially around this BR. If I'm not mistaken, the actual P-47 Thunderbolt, of which this thing is actually named after, is faster than it. And that was a World War II prop aircraft. So this is not a very fast aircraft by any means, but it does have extremely effective close air support weapons. And if you play it right, if you know actually how to use its speed or its lack thereof in your favor, as well as the weapons that it can carry, it can actually be quite effective when it comes to air-to-air as well. So in my opinion, again, I mean, the F4S is only $5 more expensive, and you get a higher ranked vehicle, so I'd probably recommend this over it just for that reason, but this is, in my opinion, more effective for CAS than the F4S could ever be. So the A-10A Thunderbolt early is actually pretty good. I feel like the waters get muddy by all the new players or by the bad players that play it, but overall it's a pretty decent vehicle. Nothing incredible. It's more of a meme vehicle at this point, but still pretty decent overall. Next we have the Black Shark. This is a very effective helicopter. I did like a 2-minute review on it, but honestly I haven't played this vehicle in a very long time, probably a few years, so I really couldn't, honestly speaking at least, give you guys any sort of a recommendation for it, at least as of current. But what I can tell you is that when I used to play this thing a few years ago, it was quite good, especially with its Vikir missiles. This can be quite effective, and overall is just one of the tougher to kill, I guess you could say, helicopters at and around this BR, especially when it comes to premium helicopters. Next we have the AV-8B Night Attack Pack. Very, very good aircraft in my opinion for close air support. Fantastic for close air support. Probably one of the best close air support aircraft at and around its BR. It is just phenomenal for that. It has so many excellent guided weapons. I can get 3 or 4 kills easily in a single go with this thing without the enemy even knowing that I'm there. It is just so good, especially with its Mavericks. It is a very, very powerful ground attack aircraft. I love it in that regard. When it comes to air-to-air, it's okay. It's like, if I'm not mistaken, I gave it somewhere like a 5, maybe like a 5.5 out of 10. It's a very okay aircraft for air-to-air. Nothing spectacular, but when it comes to air-to-ground, phenomenal. Actually, you know what? I'd probably pick this over the F4S. That's just me, though. I might be a little bit crazy here, but I'd probably pick this over the F4S because this thing is so much better when it comes to close air support. It is still decent enough when it comes to air-to-air that, in my opinion, it's probably just going to take the cake over the F4S in general. Next, we have the Somua SM. Phenomenal heavy tank for the ground, French French tech tree. And really one of the bigger issues with this is that it has seen BR increases, but it's still very, very powerful. Probably the biggest problem with it is the fact that it doesn't have any sort of explosive-filled ammunition. It is all solid-shot ammunition, which kind of sucks, but it is still extremely powerful and extremely large solid-shot, so there's plenty of spalling on the interior of the vehicle, and, of course, it is also very quick. It doesn't really have the greatest armor thickness, but it is still decently angled, and also the turret is very weirdly shaped because it is an oscillating turret, so it might kind of trick a lot of people. I actually fully recommend this thing. It's a rank 5, $22.50. Very, very good vehicle, in my opinion, for the French Grand Tech tree, and will allow you to grind out a large part of it. In my opinion, one of the more fun vehicles on this list. Next, speaking of fun vehicles, we have the Term 3 pack. This vehicle, so many people hate it, and for good reason. It's got like a 30mm autocannon. It's got its main cannon as well that can fire APDS and Heat FS. It's quick. It's just an absolute crazy vehicle. It has very little armor, of course, but it is a very, very powerful vehicle. Extremely offensively geared. In my opinion, a very good vehicle. I would 100% recommend it. Anytime this thing goes up for sale, unless it sees a major BR increase in the future, I fully recommend it. Next, we have the Arkansas pack. This is actually pretty decent. I played it a bit when it comes to naval. I'm not like a huge naval guy, but I do play it in my off time. The Arkansas pack is okay. Again, I can't really speak to naval all so much, but it's definitely an okay vehicle, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and recommend it or not recommend it one way or the other. It's just not going to be fair or honest on my part. Next up, we have the Object 140, and this is actually one of my favorite vehicles on this list. It's basically like a T55A plus a T62 and with a bigger T55A cannon. So basically, even though it's a 100mm cannon, it is a longer cannon, which helps with the muzzle velocity of the shells, which means that shells have higher armor pen compared to the standard T55A's cannon. And of course, the Object 140 is also fully stabilized and is currently 8.3 BR. It's got very good armor for its BR. It's got good mobility, not amazing, but good mobility for its BR. And again, its armament is just, insofar as those old school style tanks, you really can't get much better than this armament, especially for this size of cannon. I personally love it. It is $30, rank 6. Personally, just for the economics of all of it, I would still recommend the T80 UE1 pack over it, being that it is a higher rank and thus can grind out through more of the ground tech tree. And it's only $5 more, so I'd probably recommend that over the Object 140. But in my opinion, I like the Object 140 just a touch more than the UE1. Can't really speak on the Yamashiro because this is a naval vehicle, so unfortunately, I can't really give my opinion one way or the other on it. Next, we have the M1 KVT, and I feel like this is a somewhat weak vehicle. As I said before, I would recommend the RDFLT over the M1 KVT simply for the fact that the M1 KVT, it's 10.7 BR. It doesn't really have great armament. If I'm not mistaken, its best shell is under 400mm of armor pen, which at this BR is not really all that great. It's got okay armor insofar as the cheeks of it are concerned. Otherwise, it's not all that great when it comes to armor. I mean, it's okay. It's pretty good, but not like fantastic. And its mobility is actually really good. So you're dealing with a vehicle that's pretty good in many ways, but just not really all that great overall. I think largely because its armament just kind of suffers from having a somewhat weak shell. So again, overall, probably wouldn't recommend this over the RDFLT. Next, we have the Wyvern pack. This is one of the best vehicles at and around its BR for air battles and for ground battles as well. You will hear this thing all the time if you're playing around, 4.3 BR ground. This thing swoops down, has a really nice air-to-ground loadout, is still extremely effective for air-to-air, extremely fast, has great cannons. This is easily one of the best vehicles at and around its BR, whether for air-to-air or air-to-ground. Of course, it is a little bit heavy, so it's not going to be able to outturn a lot of more nimble fighters like BF-109s, Mustangs, even Spitfires if for whatever reason you find yourself against a Spitfire somehow. It is not all that great in that regard, but when it comes to overall speed, boom and zoom, everything like that, it is fantastic for air-to-air, and it also gets an air spawn, which means that you can intercept aircraft with it. And again, I feel like its main calling is going to be close air support, in which it's fantastic. There's really, I don't think that there's any better rank 4 aircraft than this. Next, we have the Challenger DS. Very average vehicle. I like it a bit more than the M1 KVT, but not by much. It's just got a good overall reload rate, got a good cannon. Its armor is a bit iffy, and its speed is definitely not all that great. It's pretty mediocre when it comes to speed, so wouldn't really recommend it, kind of in the same way that I would not recommend the M1 KVT. It's a decent vehicle in a few ways, but it's a bit flawed in others. Next, we have the Leopard pack. This is an interesting vehicle because it is years and years and years. This has got to be like 6-7 years old in War Thunder. And basically it's the Leopard A1 L44, which means that's a 120mm equipped Leopard A1, which is cool, but at the same time it has very little armor, and its mobility, while decent, is not fantastic. So basically it is a glass cannon and then some. This vehicle will not hold your hand at all. I would personally recommend the Term 3 over this, even though it is a rank lower, or the Leopard 2A4 Mk pack over it, because this is just kind of like the weird stepchild, like the weird middle child, if you will, between those. It's just not all that great. It's more of an expert vehicle. It's more of a sniping vehicle. It's just not going to be overall a very usable vehicle for a lot of people, especially for new players. Next, we have the PZH2000, the Panzerhaubitze 2000 HU, if I'm not mistaken. It's a very good vehicle. At rank 5, I personally prefer the Vidar over this, but the Vidar is unfortunately not for sale. But for a rank 5 Italian ground vehicle, it's actually quite good. This is one of the better artillery vehicles in War Thunder. It has an extremely powerful HE shell, just a very good overall vehicle, and it also has, if I'm not mistaken, very good mobility. So it's a very usable vehicle. It's a very specific type of vehicle, again, being that it's an artillery vehicle in War Thunder, and so you might be disappointed to see, like, when you hit a vehicle head on with an artillery shell and doesn't even damage it. That will happen occasionally. That's kind of one of the issues when it comes to large HE shells in War Thunder. They can be a little bit hit or miss, especially when it comes to heavier vehicles. They might kill and they might not. It's just kind of random sometimes, but it's still a very good overall vehicle. So yeah, for the most part, I do recommend it. Next, we have the Mustang pack. Personally, I prefer the Wyvern over this, but this is still an excellent vehicle overall. Very good when it comes to close air support, as many similar BR American aircraft are concerned. Not fantastic in that regard, but it is a very fast air-to-air vehicle, and it also has the excellent tracer shells, which are incendiary loaded and are extremely powerful. So yes, I do actually like this vehicle. Again, I would recommend the Wyvern over this, but this is a rank 4 American, whereas the Wyvern is rank 4 Great Britain. So Mustang pack, definitely a very good vehicle to look at. Next, we have the Type 16 FPS pack. I love this thing. It's a shame that there aren't more Japanese vehicles on sale, but the Type 16 FPS, very good. This is a wheeled light tank destroyer. I love it. It's just a very fast, very powerful vehicle. It's got really nice armament. It's got, I believe, Gen 3 or Gen 2 thermals. Just overall an excellent flanking vehicle. 100% recommend. We have the AVA-S Matador for the next vehicle. Again, really good vehicle. It's a shame that we don't have more Japanese vehicles on this list. It's only $30. Really, this is just like an AVA-A, except for the Japanese ground, or rather air tech tree. There's nothing fantastic about it, but it's one of those vehicles that I feel like you can just get into when it comes to air battles and just have a few really quick and productive matches. Nothing incredible, but like maybe 2 kills or so here and there, maybe like some base damage or something. So it's a good scorer when it comes to air. Nothing incredible. It's not going to be like a frontline dogfighter because it doesn't have fantastic maneuverability. It's very meh when it comes to maneuverability, and it is subsonic. And when it comes to CAS, again, it's pretty decent considering it's BR. Nothing incredible, but it does have, if I'm not mistaken, ballistic computers, which makes it more effective with dumb ordnance than a lot of other similar aircraft, even though, again, it is a little bit limited in terms of its overall ordnance loadout. So a very decent overall aircraft. It's nothing fantastic. It's just overall a good aircraft. And again, with all these things, I would definitely recommend looking at my reviews if you want more info on them. And then finally, we have the AMX A1 pack. This is the Brazilian AMX, and in my opinion, it's actually quite fun. It does have the Python missiles, which are quite good at and around this BR, but unfortunately, they're not like amazing. It's air to ground loadout. It's quite good at and around this BR. It does have guided bombs, which can be quite effective, but it's just not an incredibly powerful aircraft. Also, in this image, it's showing like an afterburner, which I don't think is correct. Like, this vehicle does not have an afterburner. It is not a supersonic aircraft. not that supersonic aircraft or like they need an afterburner or that afterburners are only a feature of supersonic aircraft, but it's kind of getting away from the point. This is a good aircraft. It's nimble. It's more of a strike aircraft than air-to-air, but it can still perform air-to-air largely thanks to those Python missiles. And again, it does have a pretty good CAS loadout. Personally, it's not great, not terrible. It's an overall fun vehicle in my opinion. $35 is a bit much for it, but it is still a rank 7. So in my opinion, I think it's a good vehicle, but this is more of like one of those use case things for it because it's not as strong as a lot of other aircraft in this video. I would say, like, for example, the J7D is a better overall aircraft than it. You have something like even the Su-39 or the AV-8B are going to be a little bit better than it. The Wyvern relative to BR is better than the AMX. I would consider the AMX kind of middle of the pack when it comes to premium aircraft. I hadn't run this BR, but still pretty decent overall and can definitely be really, really fun, especially considering that it has such unique weapons, being that this is, again, a Brazilian vehicle. But either way, that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. It was a bit longer of a video than I expected, but most of my buyer's guides are. Again, thanks again, and I will see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.